All right, hello. I'm going to be the second person to make a fool of myself. No, wait. No. I'm the second person to go. I'll be the first one to make a fool of myself. Yeah, it's a tradition at this point. NES block, Blaster Master. So let's go ahead and just get this going. Time's going to start when I gain control. So we'll go ahead and start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Jump and shoot tank, the musical. You jump, you shoot, you kill bad guys, and I have to admit I have not played this in a while, so I'm going to be rusty at this, but you know, it's kind of like riding a bicycle. It never really leaves you. If you've played a game long enough, you know what I'm talking about. That H was useless. I don't know why I grabbed it. All right, as usual, you start in between, you go to the pause screen in between screens, because that's faster than the scrolling animation. We go down here, shoot enemies. Let's see, that guy moves randomly, that guy moves randomly. They're both being kind of mean. Hey, that guy is following me, which is unusual. I'll go ahead and get this for the health. Let's go ahead and hop out here. I was about to say Jason swims faster than the tank, but again, Japanese version. This is Kane, not Jason. So we're going ahead and swimming up here. Again, the Blaster Master usual. You take a tank until you get to the dungeon that you want. Ow. And then you get out of the tank and you go into the dungeon, and every single dungeon you're going to be fighting as the Marshmallow Man rather than as Sophia the Third, who is not at all related to Sophia the First. You can tell from the barrel. Anyways, yeah, we just go through here. It's possible to get gun upgrades. They're not worth getting because every time you take a hit, you lose it, and you're going to be damage boosting a lot to get through these dungeons anyways. But what will be worth it is that I will be shooting down these things for some triple missile sub-weapons. And then Metroid fans wish that Mother Brain was this easy. By the way, flashing light warning. I probably should have said that. And the flashing light warning is going to remain in effect throughout most of the game. Moving at me immediately. That's the bad RNG pattern, but I can just go right through, grenade it down, and then it's over. And with that, we get our first upgrade, which is going to be, what is it? It's Hyper. And all of your upgrades are for the tank. Kane never gets any upgrades for himself. A quick little bit here. In the US version, the tank is called Sophia the Third, but in the Japanese version, Sophia the Third is the planet that we are on, and the tank is called the Metal Attacker. Blaster Master Zero kind of merges these two origin stories by making Sophia the Third the name of the specific tank, Sophia also being the planet, and the tank is of a Metal Attacker series, which is kind of neat. Yeah, shoot all the mines on the way down. Oops, got a little hit there. All right, shoot these ones down. And then, what have we got going on here? Level 2 starts to ramp up the difficulty a little bit, but we've still got the training wheels on. The main thing that you're going to see is that level 2 is very maze-like. And it also introduces the worm enemies, which I was trying to shoot on the way down, but the reason I do that is because twofold. One, they're very low to the ground, and the tank's cannon is going to shoot over them, so I got to jump over this second one because I can't hit it. The other is that in general, you're wanting to shoot all of the enemies as you come across them because the game lags a lot, and reducing the number of enemies on screen reduces the lag. A couple of these screens are going to have lava in them. That lava hurts a lot and does 2 bars worth of damage. Although it's interesting to point out that the tank doesn't, the health bar isn't a value between 0 and 8. It's actually using the full 256 values in the variable. It's just that the health bar is an approximation of it, but it doesn't fully capture it. So it is possible to be on 0 bars, but still have a little bit of health left. Yeah. Pause, unpause. Yeah, some of these enemies can be very difficult to get sometimes. They will take some interesting pathing, and the pausing, unpausing in between screens actually helps a lot, because there are some screens in which the enemies are active before the screen finishes scrolling, and then by the time you're able to start moving again, they're right on top of you and you take damage and you can't avoid it. You got to be very careful going into that Area 2 dungeon. It is possible to glitch yourself through the wall and soft lock the game, so I'm glad I did not do that. Pause, unpause. The Area 2 boss is named Crabulous, and we're not going to be seeing very much of Crabulous because of a well-known glitch that is so well-known that Nintendo Power published it in their magazines back in the day. We are talking, of course, about the grenade glitch, which works on bosses 2, 4, 6, and 7. So if you look at your grenade very closely, you'll notice the exploding animation persists for a little bit. Well, if you pause the game, it persists indefinitely, and the boss takes damage during that pause. So you throw a grenade, you pause, you wait for the boss to die, you unpause. And that's 2 bosses down. It is mandatory to dance to the music when you're here. The second boss dropped Crusher for the tank, and that turned my shot into a rainbow. And it is always funny, and I always mention it, that the hyper makes the shot big and the crusher makes the shot rainbow, which is, yeah. That's just funny to me. Your modern games would make you think otherwise. Anyways, hyper allowed us to destroy the gate monster that leads to Area 2. But Crusher allows us to destroy these destroyable blocks in the wall. So, yeah, that's basically... This game is kind of like a Metroidvania. You go, you get an upgrade, which unlocks the next area, and then you continue onward. And so you're going to repeat that pattern a little bit. You go to an area, you go to the boss of the area, you get an upgrade for your tank, and then you go to the next area using that upgrade. So Area 3 is the point at which the game takes off the training wheels, because this is a very difficult area. We're going to see a lot of things on the ceiling here. These things here will drop worms on you, and those can hurt a lot. They're not always reachable. When they are, you try to take them down. It takes 4 shots, even with Crusher, and I know that Crusher does do more damage than the regular tank. And here's why we really want the triple missiles, because these gumball machines, they drop their marbles, and those marbles hurt a lot, 2 bars of damage. 1 triple missile will take out those things when normally it would take 4 shots from Crusher to do it. And we're going to be using those triple missiles a lot during the level. Those ceiling worm droppers also take 4 shots or 1 triple missile. Pause, unpause. Go up here, go up here. What else have I missed? If this were any of the warpless categories, those H's that worm on the ceiling dropped, I would be wanting to gather as many of those as possible. But the unfortunate thing is that any warps that I do are going to reset the amount of hover that I get, and the game is tracking this from the beginning of the game. The amount of hover that you have starts at 0, and if you get H's before you get the hover module, then you do actually get some amount of hover to fill up that bar with. So once you get your hover module, then you can immediately use it. Except that I'm going to be warping immediately after I get the hover module. So unfortunately, in this category, any H's I get before then are not going to be used at all. Got to be careful there. There's a shot limit on the screen. There can only be so many sprites on the screen at once before the game will decide, you know what, I'm not throwing any more missiles on there. You're on your own, buddy. But yeah, this is, if areas 1 and 2 were kind of warm-up levels, then this is the first level that actually really starts to test some of your skills. Although this isn't so much that one level so much as it is just time to wake up. The gameplay is really starting now. The Area 3 dungeon has a lot of spikes that we're going to be damage boosting through, so which makes it one of the scarier dungeons in the game, because in ideal circumstances we're going to pretty much be limited on our health as we go into the boss of this dungeon. And if you saw the previous two bosses, you probably think, no big deal. 6 health is actually a lot for Photophage. Photophage is going to be probably the most difficult boss that remains in the any% run. He starts in the middle here, and then you destroy these blocks, and the blocks are always going to spawn in the same pattern here, but you don't want to let any of those blocks get away, because Photophage will get out of control rapidly if you do not keep him under control. So Photophage is the hardest boss that remains in this category, and time for a reset, because this is Blaster Master, the Japanese version, and there is a very nice bug with the Japanese version in which you press the reset button and you go all the way back to the beginning of Area 1, but I still have my hover module. You can see my hover bar there, although it is empty, but I do have the hover module. So the entrance to Area 4 is at the beginning of Area 1, so resetting like that has saved me a lot of backtracking. But in order... Alright.
Love to see it.
2.5 bars of hover is enough to get me up to this ledge, so I'm going to do that. Uh-oh. Do that. Do that. Alright, that's going to get me to Area 4, so we're all good here. Let's see, what else? So any% is actually going to skip a fairly substantial portion of the game, because Area 4, I do really like the track to Area 4, and I actually don't think Area 4 is as difficult as Area 3. It feels like kind of a cooldown from the difficulty of it, but despite these things, we're not sticking around here long. The upgrade in Area 4 is a literal key to the next level, but instead I'm going to do this glitch to, let's see, walk through the door just like that. You press the opposite direction on the exact right frame, and you just glitch through the door, which gets you to Area 5. But I am now in Area 5 without my tank, and I don't have the tank for shooting out these blocks with. Well, we're going to go ahead and do that door wrap glitch again. Every time we do that, the collision on the tiles is offset by 1 tile. So we're going to do that 3 times, since we can't destroy these blocks, but we're going to do that glitch through these blocks, pause, unpause, that resets the collision, and we're now on the other side of these blocks. And we would be ditching the tank at this point in a normal playthrough anyways, so it's kind of fine to not have it for most of the level. But yeah, if Area 3 is the point at which the game starts to take off the training wheels, Area 5 is the point at which the game really stops going easy on you. Area 5 is, for me growing up, Area 5 was the make it or break it of most of my casual playthroughs. You either got through Area 5 or, you know, it just stood in your way, and a lot of that has to do with just, you do most of the level without the tank, you find your way all the way to the dungeon, and then when you get to the dungeon, you end up with one of the most difficult dungeons in the entire game. And I'm coming here with an extra life just to be certain that I pull off what I want to pull off. So yeah, there's a lot of these bad guys in the way here. You're taking a lot of damage, and in order to just get through this dungeon quickly, you're really wanting a full power gun for this boss, but if you take even 1 hit, then you're not likely to get it, and there aren't very many backup gun power-ups in this stage. So yeah, this is one of the more difficult ones. We're going to take out these guys for safety, but luckily for us, there's a glitch. My timing's a little bit off, but If you pause repeatedly and wait for the screen to go orange, and then you leave the room afterward, then you can leave the room and fight Hard Shell the boss outside of his boss room, which trivializes the fight. And that's one of the things you really want to do, because Hard Shell is by far the most difficult boss in the game. For most speedrunners of this game, you either do this glitch and fight the boss that way, or you reset, because there are not very many people that are skilled enough to actually take on Hard Shell without any gun upgrades. In fact, the number of people that can do that might be countable on one hand. So anyways, Hard Shell gives you the dive module, which gets you through these underwater sections and into Area 6. Area 6 is a bit of a bop here. It's also an icy level, and as you might expect, icy level means icy physics. So I'm going to be spending most of my time jumping. Yes, because the ground has ice physics, and you will accelerate more quickly in the air than on the ground. There's a nice little difference between the US and Japanese versions. For some reason, you have even less traction on the US version and take even longer to get up to speed. You slip even more on the US version, but in the Japanese version, you're still going to be jumping to avoid being on the ice, but that slight little difference could affect the movement in a couple of rooms. If we were doing a warpless category, we might be able to come into this room with 6 bars on the hover meter, and we might be able to cut off the corner of this room by hovering all the way up. But as it is, Death Warp means no more hover, means we do this level the normal way. Alright, we got a Leap of Faith coming up. Uh-oh. Leap of Faith. Got it! Oh, that was scary. I did not have my usual approach and setup for it. If you miss the Leap of Faith, you fall all the way down, and you need to either wrap around and do a couple of those screens again, or you take an intentional death to reset the room. I should be moving my sub-weapons over to the H missiles because I have a few. Some of the jumps in this room are difficult to do just with the ice physics and the jumping around, even without the ice physics. So the tank takes a little bit of time to actually get up to speed, and so you can be, although the game does control nice and smoothly, it is possible for the controls to end up just slightly janky, especially on the ice. So it is very difficult to round corners. And there's a couple of ways up here. You can either shoot out all these blocks, or you can do a pause and unpause to reset the blocks after you jump up. I'll go ahead and take the safety strat for this level, which is going to be to grab this health refill over here, and then take this bottom path through this room. So that's going to make the room fairly easy. So despite the presence of the grenade glitch, the boss of Area 6 is going to... It's not exactly trivial. There's plenty of things that can go wrong with the boss of Area 6, but first, my way through this room, the safe strat is to stay on the spikes. The ice has ice physics, but the spikes have your usual walking, so if you want to be safe, then it's easier to just line yourself up on the spikes and then go through the door. You'll take some damage that way, but then we get to the Area 6 boss. Let's see, position to the left. Yeah, you want to position to the left and throw one grenade. You do that, the boss will lag less, and you are significantly less likely to be hit by both a stray projectile that hurts a lot and to get the zombie glitch. But after beating the Area 6 boss, you reset and you go back to Area 1. And that saves you the backtrack through Areas 6, 5, and 4. The upgrade that you got from the boss was Wall 1, and Wall 1 allows you to drive up walls. So in a certain sense, it can get you to some places that hover can't get you because hover can only go up so far. You're limited on your... Uh-oh. Yeah, that'll happen. This is one of those games where it is very easy to die if something goes wrong. And I tried to be fancy with my pathing there after I fell, and I did not play it safe. This game will punish you if you don't treat it with respect. So always, always, always treat this game with respect. Alright, getting through here, we get plenty of lag. You could either try to go back and forth through these platforms or use wall 1 to fit yourself through the gap there. I prefer to just go back and forth. I think it's faster, but I don't really know for sure. A lot of people like to use wall 1 to get through there. Now, I didn't go exploring in area 2 too much, but if you went exploring, you might have found a room that is super tall, and it's tall enough that even a hover module on full field can't get you up that room. But luckily, we now have wall 1. We can drive up walls. So we'll go ahead and go down and to the right here. One of the things that I've seen when I watch people play this game and not knowing the speedrun as well is that they have a tendency to get a little bit lost in area 2 because it's so maze-like and a lot of the doors look the same. Yeah, I've seen it a lot. So yeah, memorize those doors, make sure you know exactly which one you're going in. You go off the ceiling here, and ow, I took a little damage. Yeah, wall 1 will get you to area 7, and area 7 is a fun stage to do. Because there's been multiple versions of the speedrun of this stage. So at first we did the full stage normally, and then there was a task that found a way to glitch through the walls to get to the dungeon, and then a safer way to glitch through the walls to get to the dungeon was found. But now, instead, on the Japanese version, we're going to glitch over the lava. Let me see if I can do this right. Nope. This glitch is pretty hard to do, and I don't always get it first try, but we'll see what we can do. Especially hard to do if you're rusty. I haven't played this game in months. Okay, I think I was pausing too soon there. So what I need to be doing is going a little bit further. Anyways, the fact that we're constantly resetting our lives and usually don't need to down them on purpose, but also the fact that the only thing you lose is time if you try to do this glitch is one of the reasons this is the safest category. That felt good. Third try lava skip, I will absolutely take. Alright, so for a Solar Fred, we're going to go up here, be safe. We're going to line ourselves up, wait a little bit, and then pause. I'm listening for the sound. Alright, and that's Solar Fred. And he gives you by far the worst sequel in Blaster Master history, Wall 2. Yes, I like the Blaster Master 2 for the Sega Genesis. Why do you ask? If this were Genesis block, I would absolutely be playing Blaster Master 2. One nice thing about doing this category and not warpless is that I can just take the game over here. I don't have to try to cross all the way back to the tank over the lava in that dungeon. Warpless is a very difficult category and one of my favorite ones, but I don't dare try to do that category without de-rusting it first. We're going to do a little drop here, press right here. Oh, I was too early. Alright, so here's why Wall 2 is one of the worst sequels that you can get. Basically, if you've seen that meme or something where Spider-Man is accidentally sticking to walls and he can't control his wall climbing powers. That's what Wall 2 is. Wall 2 has a tendency to stick you to walls that you don't want to stick through. When it engages, it overrides your jump button. So if you accidentally go over a ledge while holding the D-pad, then you will engage Wall 2. You will stick to the wall, and your jump input will get eaten. You might go somewhere you don't want to go. But there are ways to combat this. The main thing you need to know about the Wall 2 transition is that there are two conditions that must be met when you're using it. You must be a specific distance from the ledge. So if you happen to be past the point at which it engages, then it will not engage. But you also need to be holding left or right on the D-pad. So if one of those is not true, then Wall 2 will not engage. So you can game the system a little bit by letting go of the D-pad as you approach a ledge, or jumping past the point at which it would engage and then landing on the very tip of the platform. It won't engage then. Speaking of engaging, we've got a very difficult room here, and I have no hover for this. Jump, jump. Oh, almost had it. I had it, but I got the corner clip, and I did not have the health to survive this, which is okay. I have 4 lives for Area 8. Area 8 is the most difficult level in the game. In particular, this room that we call, well, another word for it is the heckway. But yeah, there are worms. They are trying to knock you into the spikes. There are spikes on the floor. Wall 2 is trying to make you go into those spikes. This is the hardest room in the game by far. And before I really got good at the game, when I finally managed to get past Area 5, the heckway was the room that killed all of my playthroughs. By far the most difficult room in the game, which there's kind of a final hallway and a final gauntlet here, but this gauntlet is really not nearly as difficult. It winds around, there are these enemies, there are skulls dropping red worms on you, but really most of these things are just not in your way, so all you got to do is shoot once, take them out of the way, and then you're good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, get out here, and then for our final dungeon, we get a special prize. See, we don't get to fight just one boss, we get to fight 2. So we'll go ahead and start with the boss that is on the cartridge of the US version, the Plutonium Beast. So the main thing to know about this boss is that he can't take damage while the game is paused, but it does run down his iframes, so you can make the boss easier by spamming grenades and also spamming the start button, which will allow you to get through most of the boss fight pretty much unscathed. He only shot out 2 balls here. And then for this boss, there's multiple ways to deal with it, but the way I prefer to deal with him is to just stand here in this safe spot. Another possible method is to bring him to the very top of the screen and mash the A button faster than him. You won't take damage while doing it. Or you can repeat the hard shell glitch on this boss and it will work on him too. So there's 3 different ways to deal with him depending on what you do. I prefer the safe spot. It's just nice for me, and time is going to be now. And so that is it for Blaster Mastered. 28-22. It's okay. My PB is like 3 minutes faster than that, but oh well, this is a hard game and I'm rusty. So yeah, I'll take it. That's Blaster Master for me. Another Sunsoft goodie. I'm DavidTKI, and thank you so much for having me.